A pleasant afternoon to everyone. My name is Allan Carlo R Aguilan from BSPT 22, and my topic is all about free and quality. That's right, free and quality education. Now, we always heard from our parents, grandparents, and relatives that education is the solution to all problems. We saw this in our school backyard and in some public places. We sometimes heard this from a TV advertisement when the day of election is near, and is also mentioned by some neophytes or incumbent politicians on their agenda during their campaign sorties. The motion of our lawmakers of having good and quality education for everyone is a compromised but promising act that remains to be seen in the future. However, this free and good quality education that our Congress is presently lobbying now can only be achieved once the graft and corruption issue is properly addressed and resolved in the government system. There are many speculations that arise every annual budget deliberation in the legislative chambers, cutting the pie for our education budget that it always trigger many of our state school activists to go on a protest street rally, endangering the safety of these young promising students in a possible forced coercion. As a student, finishing education is a must for us. It's a dream of every student to fulfill their ultimate goal, to become successful in their choice of profession and be a contributory individual in our nation building. This is another reason why we students are striving to earn a degree so that we could help our parents to improve the quality of life that we ought to achieve. The rights of having education for all, either you are poor or rich, young or old, is in accordance to the Article 14, Section 1 to 2 of the 1987 Constitution, which states that the government should promote and protect the rights of all citizens for a free and quality education and make education accessible for us. The government should establish and grant scholarships, student loan programs, and other incentives which is available in both private and public places, especially for those deserving and underprivileged students. There is a proposed law that I had searched on the internet. The proposed law, the Magna Carta for Students Act of 2014, would expand and advance the rights of having a free and quality education. It is authored by Representative Diosdado Dato Macapagal and Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. And I strongly believe that this law should be passed because every Filipino has a given to chance to go to school and be properly educated, and that the country would have a strong and prolific society that would push further our economy to its zenith. For now, we have existing laws that may be conducive for our education with proper and strict implementation. And with strict implementation comes with greater budget allotment. According to the Department of Budget and Management, in 2014, the education sector has at least 309.43 billion pesos for the basic education, 25 billion pesos for the subsidy operations of the states and universities and colleges, and 7.45 billion pesos for students' financial assistance, for a total of 341.88 billion pesos that can be allocated more by the government if they wish to have a better quality education for public school students. The status of our new education system is still in question, whether we need to keep our new system, the K-12, or whether we return to our old education system, which comprises of 10-year basic education. The reason for this is because there are some Filipino youth that are not in school and they seen often in streets selling stuffs and sometimes being caught as drug mule. Although the education sector has received a huge chunk of budget from the national budget, still it's not enough to support 23.9 million Filipino youth rather, who are relying on free basic education. As a result, there are some of them have dropped out early. According to the 2010 Annual Poverty Statistics Survey conducted by the Philippine Statistics Authority, 1 out of 8 Filipino aged 6 to 24 is an out-of-school youth. Even though that the dropout rates have decreased in some regions of the country, still it does not indicate that many Filipino children are returned to school because the national dropout rate is stagnated. Without the government's aids in addressing this problem, out-of-school youth is a menace within our society. With so many children unable to go to school, expect more unwise and not responsible electorate to be part of this coming election in the future. The lack of knowledge have made them reluctant to exercise their right to vote and somehow curious do degenerate acts that eventually resulted to unwanted pregnancy. Teenage pregnancy in the Philippines is a mere serious problem. And the reason for this is that the lack of education for responsible parenthood. Teenage pregnancy is common in youths who are unable to attend in school because of their financial situation. Research shows that teenage pregnancy cases here have doubled for the last decade, and if the government will not make an immediate action to address this social situation, there is a fear that teenage pregnancy will continue to rise dramatically in the coming years. Yet, do not lose hope, for the country has a long way to go to correct its mistakes and improve further our current education system. The problem is that the government's effort on having free and quality education is not enough, and that effort should be pushed more further. They need to allocate more budget on our education and list it as a priority. With more budget, many children would be subsidized by the government, thus returning them to school for study. For the children able to motivate their studies further, the government should release and allocate more funds to build additional classrooms and modern facilities such as computers and more science laboratories for research and development. The needs to hire skilled and professional teachers is another one that would further upgrade the education system standard. Right now, the numbers of competent school teachers in ratio to the students per class are unequivocal, but we hope that it would be remedied by the time the government would allocate more budget to attract more qualified teachers. These three simple recommendations for our students will highlight the possible evolution of our aimed education so that our goal to reduce illiteracy in our society will be accomplished instead. As a student like myself, I would share my experience and expertise to my fellow students. And as Dr. Jose Rizal said, that the youth is the hope of the nation.